it's been a while since I did a video on Twilight. Last year I did the first 3 movies pretty much in a row, and then I guess just other things got in the way, and for some reason I never went back. Until now. So if you haven't seen the first 3 videos I did, of course I recommend you do, but just to summarize real quick, Bella's like, "Duh," and Edward's like, "Duh," and then Jacob's like, "Harumph, harumph." And that just goes on for like 3 movies. But here we are with the first of the final 2 in the series, so you know what time it is. Let's take a walk. As usual with the Twilight movies, we start out with an overly dramatic monologue from Bella, basically just summarizing what the entire movie is going to be about.
Childhood is not from birth to a certain age. And at a certain age, the child is grown and puts away childish things.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look at me, 31 years old, making cartoons about Twilight and Disney Channel movies. So, joke's on you, every ex-girlfriend I ever had. Looks like I don't need to grow up after all. So, right from the get-go, everyone's preparing for the big wedding between Bella and Edward. Bella's over here having a tough time learning how to walk on heels, because, she's more of like a boots and Converse kind of girl. And also, for some reason, just looks a lot like Michael Jackson now. But anyway, Bella goes home for the night because Alice tells her to.
You, go home and get lots of beauty sleep. That's an order.
Okay.
And wouldn't you be shocked to know that a certain someone just kind of decides to show up like a weirdo?
I was just checking for cold feet.
Okay, wait, hold on a second here. You came all this way just to check on her feet? So, you got a little something you want to share with us there, Edward?
It's not too late to change your mind.
What, now you're having second thoughts?
I've been waiting a century to marry you, Miss Swan.
What?
I haven't told you everything about myself.
Yes, clearly. I mean, first you're climbing in the window watching Bella sleep or whatever, and now we're all just learning that you got a thing for foots. See, this is why you gotta be careful with the whole, waiting until marriage thing. I mean, sure, maybe it's, romantic or whatever, but, you gotta be prepared for all kinds of shenanigans. Anyway, so after this, Edward goes off to his bachelor party, where everyone's just gonna braid each other's hair and find out who's the sparkliest, I assume. And Bella has a nightmare where she actually marries Edward. Can you imagine? But then, the next day, it's finally time for the wedding, and Bella kinda starts to regret eating those Taco Bell leftovers from last night, you know what I'm saying? And then they decide to just kind of do the whole thing themselves.
Stab into holes.
For better or for worse.
Guys?
Richer, poor.
Hello?
In sickness and in health.
We haven't even started yet. But yeah, so finally, after years of staring and heavy breathing and whatever this was, Bella and Edward are finally married. Now later on that night, Edward says he has one more surprise for Bella. But after the whole feet thing we just went through, how many surprises can one girl take, you know what I mean?
The best man didn't have time to get a tux.
Jacob! Jacob. Hey.
Hey, Bella.
Hey.
I've talked a lot about how Bella really sends a lot of mixed signals throughout this whole series, and even now, on her wedding night, she's still doing it. But anyway, so Jacob's like, "Sure sucks you're not gonna have a real honeymoon." And then Bella's like, "Oh, we're having a honeymoon." And then Jacob gets all grumpy because, now what's he supposed to do with all these abs? Now, once the wedding and everything is over, Edward takes Bella to a secret, deserted island where they get to be alone and do all kinds of icky grown-up stuff. But skipping ahead just a little bit, the first big issue we get to is that Edward has a hard time controlling himself during the Devil's Tango and leaves Bella looking like this.
Bella, I can't tell you how sorry I am.
I'm not. Really, I'm not. I'm fine.
Don't say you're fine.
Don't ruin this.
I've already ruined it.
Why can't you see how perfectly happy I am? Or was 5 seconds ago.
You see, Bella, this is what Jacob was trying to warn you about over the last 3 movies. Being with a guy who's all dark and brooding or whatever, it's fine at first, right? Until you realize that he's gonna brood about everything. Bella, I put the toaster on 4 instead of 3, and now everything is completely burnt, because that's how toasters work for some reason. How can you even bear to look at me? Bella, I accidentally washed one red sock with your white socks, and now they're all pink. I must climb to the top of the highest mountain so I can be alone and cry and stuff. I forgot to change the toilet paper roll again. But of course, Bella tries to make him feel better about the whole thing.
I think we did amazing. I mean, it was amazing for me.
That's what you're worried about.
I know it's not the same for you, but For a human, I can't imagine that it gets any better than that.
Anyway, so the next 10 minutes of the movie is basically just Bella going around like, hey Edward, you wanna blah, 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 blah. And Edward just being like, how about we play chess instead? But then, after 2 weeks of this, Bella wakes up one morning with a little rumbly in her tumbly.
It's impossible. Alice, I know that it's impossible, but I think that I'm pregnant.
Is this even possible?
That's a very good question. I mean, vampires have no heartbeat, which means no blood flow, which means I got a whole lot of questions about all of this, but let's just move on. So they fly back to Forks to see what's going on with Bella, and Jacob hears they're back in town, so he goes to say hello.
You look terrible.
It's nice to see you too.
So you gonna tell me what's wrong with you? You did this.
That's right, Jacob. That is indeed where babies come from. You solved the puzzle. Good for you. Anyway, so there's a lot of back and forth, but basically just to summarize, the baby is some kind of demon child that's slowly sucking the life out of Bella. But despite this, Bella still wants to keep it. Now, Edward knows Bella won't listen to him, so he tells Jacob to try and convince Bella to let them get rid of it before it's too late. And taken out of context, this sounds like a very different movie.
Jake, I can do this. I'm strong enough.
Oh, come on. You can spout that crap to your bloodsucker, but you don't fool me. I can see what that thing's doing to you.
You're wrong.
What was the point? Of me loving you, you loving him?
I mean, that's something we've all been asking ourselves for 10 years now, Jacob, so I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, so Jacob throws a fit, like always, and meets up with his wolf buddies, who all decide that whatever's growing inside of Bella might be dangerous to them and everyone, for some reason, and they have no choice but to deal with it and Bella if necessary. Now, surprise, surprise, Jacob isn't too fond of this idea, because, one day she might notice him, okay? I mean, hey, it kinda sorta worked for that guy in Love Actually, right? Anyway, so he makes this very dramatic exit and goes to protect Bella, even against his own kind.
I will not. I am the grandson of Ephraim Black. I am the grandson of a chief. I wasn't born to follow you or anyone else.
Speaking of Bella, turns out that whatever's inside of her is actually killing her much faster than everyone thought, and she's running out of time pretty quick here. Now, Jacob gets the idea that since it's half vampire, or whatever it is, maybe it just wants some blood.
Jacob just had an idea.
It wasn't an idea. It was a snide comment.
What were you thinking?
That it's probably just looking for someone to sink its teeth into.
He's thirsty.
If it's craving, it's not gonna want animal blood.
So Carlisle gets some human blood and puts it in a Chick-fil-A cup with a straw. I don't know why this is so funny to me. I mean, this is supposed to be a serious part of the movie, and then Bella's just like, "Aw, thanks, guys." So, after she drinks a whole bunch of blood, suddenly Edward can hear the baby's thoughts, and we finally get to learn a little something about what's going on in there.
He likes the sound of your voice.
You can hear him?
He likes my voice as well.
What do you hear?
So strange. I thought he was like me, but he's not. He's like you.
Ah, okay, I get you. So what you're saying is, it's gonna be one of those kids who wears only black hoodies and writes poems on the inside of their Trapper Keepers about how tough life is when you're 14 and your mom buys the wrong flavor of Pop-Tarts. Anyway, so later that night, Bella tells Jacob and Edward about the very unfortunate baby name she thought up.
If it's a boy, EJ. Edward Jacob.
Why don't you tell him the girl's name?
I was playing around with our mom's names. Renee and Esme. And I was thinking, Renesmee.
And right that moment, the baby's like, "Ah, crap, my mom's one of these, hey, let's give our baby a quirky name so they get made fun of their entire life kind of ladies." I'm out of here. But turns out everyone was right, and it's all too much for Bella's body to handle.
You deserve to live with this.
If only, huh? No, actually, after this, Edward injects some of his, like, venom or whatever into Bella to try and save her, but it doesn't look like anything's really working. Now, on the other side, Jacob realizes there's really no point in protecting Bella anymore because, you know, she's kind of sort of maybe like a little bit dead. So he decides to go after the half vampire demon baby thing before it does whatever he thinks it's gonna do.
It's like gravity. Your whole center shifts.
Oh? Oh? Okay, so amazing CG baby aside, did Jacob just fall in love with a baby? Did that just happen right now? Are we just gonna let this go? So like, okay, let's just summarize everything up to this point. Guy and girl get married, girl gets pregnant, guy wants her to get rid of it, girl wants to keep it, girl's best guy friend is upset because he's in the friend zone, girl dies while giving birth, and her guy friend falls in love with her baby. What the heck is this movie? Anyway, after this, the werewolves come for the demon baby. And then we get this epic fight between them and the vampires, which really just kind of looks like everyone punching nothing for 5 minutes. But right then, they all learn that Jacob imprinted on Renesmee, and then they're all just like, hey, whoa, this Jacob kid's got some issues. And they all leave. And then, the next day, this happens. And that's where the story ends for now. So, what was your favorite part of the movie? That was mine too. Oh yeah, and then there's this little like stinger at the end where the vampire council dudes are all like, a half-human demon baby? That's pretty cool. You know, coming this far in the series, I gotta be honest, I actually kind of miss the early movies now. Like the first one, right? I mean, yeah, sure, it's more or less just a cheesy teen romance or whatever, but like it was good enough at being that, you know what I mean? But at this point, I mean, my goodness. Bella is a vampire, she has a half-vampire demon baby that Jacob is now in love with, and I just don't know nothing about nothing anymore. Anyway, we have one last movie to do, so get ready for it, everybody, because you better believe I'm going in. You know, like I said at the beginning of the video, it's been quite a while since I did the last Twilight video. I think it was back in like October maybe, so yeah, it's been like 8 months. But going back to doing Twilight now, after kind of stepping away for a bit, you know, like it really helped me appreciate just how dumb these movies get. Thinking back to the first movie, and I assume the first book as well, I haven't read the book, so I can only judge it on the movies. But like the first movie was this very cheesy teen romance story of kind of this every girl, right? You know, a little bit loser, a little bit loner, a little bit awkward, kind of emo, kind of whatever. And then, you know, the super cute vampire guy falls for her because he does. And that's kind of the story. And yeah, you know, it's a girl fantasy. I get it. And that's fine. If it had stopped there, or maybe even up to the second movie, maybe that would have been fine. But as these movies go on with the third and now the fourth one, and boy, I can't wait for the fifth one. But anyway, like they just get so mind-numbingly dumb. One thing I kind of noticed or noticed more, I guess, than I did before is like, you know, in the first movie, Bella's the new girl in town. She's finding friends, finding, you know, her footing in the new school, whatever. Like, that's fine. But as the show goes on now and we develop the characters, we get to know everyone more deeply and more, you know, in detail. Like, Bella has no hobbies, no interests, no aspiration of any kind. Like, she just exists. Everything she does is with or for or because of Edward. That's it. Like, she has nothing. She's like a total nobody. Could we just go back to, like, cheesy high school romance? Because now the movies just make no sense whatsoever. Like it's, and not even in like a cheesy way or like a corny way. It's just like downright nonsensical. Like things that are happening and why and who's doing what is just like, what is happening in these movies? Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell, guys. You know, YouTube does funny things in funny places sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So follow me on Twitter. Let me know what was your favorite part of the video, or just say hi, or tell me what movie you think I should do next. Follow my dog Charlie on Instagram, Charlie Meets Pumpkin. And above all else, everybody have a great day, and I'll see you all next time.